Good afternoon. Scott Wilder in for Barry early this morning and with you now so that we can come together on our last day together. You heard us talk yesterday about the opportunity to join our friends at the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. And what we are doing is we're standing with Israel. And let me be perfectly clear. I know that people of goodwill can disagree. People of goodwill can disagree about this. You may have heard people say free Palestine, free Palestine. We're going to talk in a couple of minutes to, or hear from in a couple of minutes, Yael Eckstein, who is the president and CEO of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. And we'll get her thoughts, actually, from Israel, from really the front lines, what's going on right now. So we will hear from her in a couple of minutes. But I wanted to remind you, yesterday, you heard about it, thought about it, prayed about it, talked about it. We've had some people that have joined us who said we want to be a part of it, want to stand with Israel. I want to be clear. I stand with Israel. I know that this is more like chess than checkers. I know that it is complicated. I understand that. I want peace. Israel wants peace. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, the fellowship, wants peace. But peace at what cost? And how did this begin on October 7th, 2023? What is it that we need to know? What is it that we can do? I think this far away, that all is going on far, far away. That experience is quite different from our experience. We told you yesterday, told you throughout the day today, that when the code red warning sirens go off, people in Israel, even children in Israel, already know at the age of 6 or 8 or 10, if they're getting off a school bus, if they're playing in a playground, if they hear that sound, they have 15 seconds to get to safety. 15 seconds. Can you imagine your granddaughter, your grandson, or maybe your baby, your great-grandchild, having to know at such a young age that their life could depend on how fast they can run to a bomb shelter when they hear a sound, no matter what they're doing, no matter what you're doing. If you're in the grocery store, if you're at a library, if you're taking the kids to the zoo, if you're in the middle of a round of golf, wherever you may be, 15 seconds is all you have. When is the last time you had to run for your life? To run for your life. For a child to have to run for his life, for her life. That is what is faced today with the people of Israel. And today we can come alongside our friends at the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. As you've been hearing on the radio, your generosity helps the fellowship provide emergency assistance to the Holy Land's most vulnerable, and those are children and the elderly, some of whom are actually Holocaust survivors. Every donation that you give today, and today is our last day together, allows us to deliver critical aid, to offer hope, to transform lives. I mean, things like providing emergency food, security needs, such as flak jackets, mobile bomb shelters, more on that in a bit, and armored vehicles. So whether you're going to do a monthly gift or a one-time gift, we're standing by for your phone calls right now. And also, you can go online and find out more if you will just go to am630theword.com, am630theword.com. If you know you want to do it, and we hope you already know that, you'll click on that link at the top of the page, Israel Needs Help. Just click at that place on the website, and you'll find a place where you can give your gift today. So we're standing by for your participation today, understanding that, again, people of goodwill can disagree about this. But one thing I think we can all agree on, we should stand with people who are hurting. We should stand with children. We should stand for Israel. I believe the words of the Bible, where God said in Genesis 12:3, I will bless those who bless Israel. And I know that you don't give or participate in something like this to get anything. You do it because it's the right thing to do. But in a world where everyone is confused, where everyone is pushing in the other direction, where it's only seen as brave if you stand for Israel, I want you to be brave today and do something not just in word, but in deed. Thanks to Victoria in, is it Little or Lytle? It's Little, isn't it? Lytle. Anyway, Victoria, thank you. $125. You're a part of it today. Eva in San Antonio said, I want to be a part of it today, too. So we're waiting for your phone calls. We're waiting for you to go online. If you want to call that number, it's so easy to do. You just pick up the phone and call 800-523-8133. 800-523-8133. Or do it online. Very quick. You can handle it all safe and secure online when you go to am630theword.com. am630theword.com. Yael Eckstein is the president and CEO of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. We call it just the Fellowship, or IFCJ. And just moments ago received an update on when the war will end.
Shalom, my friends, from here in Israel. It has been a very intense few days here in the Holy Land, where millions of people have been running to their bomb shelters as there have been attacks on the Holy Land, missile attacks from Lebanon, from Yemen, and from the Gaza Strip. Israel is a tiny country the size of New Jersey, and when there are rocket attacks, it is something that affects all of us. Now, how can this war end? Everyone's asking that, and I'll tell you, it's very simple. There are two things that need to happen in order for this war to end. Number one, there are still 59 Israeli hostages being held in the Gaza Strip by Hamas terrorists. They were taken from their homes on October 7th, and every day since then, they have been in tunnels, tied up, starved, tortured, and Israel will not stop this war until every single one of them are home. Number two, Hamas terrorists, those who are ruling the Gaza Strip, which is just a mile away from Israeli homes and schools and playgrounds, they are a terror group that needs to put down their arms and let someone else rule the Gaza Strip who is not a terror group. That will not only bring freedom and security for the people of Israel, it will be free for Palestine for the first time ever. The Palestinian people have been under terror rule. The second that there is actually real leaders who are in charge of them, who don't oppress them, who don't use them as human shields, and who actually want to build a better life for the Palestinians and not to suppress them and use their money to build terror tunnels, that will be good for the Palestinians. And so the second that those hostages, Israeli hostages, and of course there's an American hostage being held as well in the Gaza Strip right now, as soon as those 59 people are freed and Hamas terrorists put down their arms and let someone else rule the Palestinian people, freedom will come, war will end, and it will be a new reality for the entire world. So for everyone who's yelling out free Palestine and thinking Israel is oppressing the Palestinians, let's make it very clear. Free Palestine from Hamas. That's the only way that Palestine will really be free.
Would you join us today? Join us by calling the number and saying, we're going to be a part of this. We're going to stand for Israel today. It is so easy to do when you just pick up the phone and call, or when you go online. You go to am630theword.com. You'll see where to click when you get there. And what we're doing is we're providing gifts of $45 or more, $180, $90, whatever your gift is. And I should tell you that we mentioned before the mobile bomb shelters. You may, and people have decided they wanted to provide a complete mobile bomb shelter. That is a $15,000 one-time gift. And I can't do it personally. You may not be able to do it personally. That wouldn't be a surprise, obviously, to me. But a long time ago, I figured, God is going to decide who needs to hear that message. That maybe you would want to provide a third of a bomb shelter at $5,000. Or your business said, I can't do a whole bunch. I could do $2,500. Or maybe you want to do half of a bomb shelter at, what would that be, $7,500. Two businesses right now who wanted to say, we're going to stand for Israel. We see what's going on there. We know that October 7, 2023 was, for the people of Israel, just like 9/11 for us. And we want to stand with Israel today. So would you join us in doing this? Whether you're going to give a gift of $45 or a monthly gift of, let's say, $25 a month. Let's bump it up to $30. $30 a month is less than $1 a day. Maybe you'd want to do that and stand with Israel throughout this year. You know, we have an anniversary coming up in October of the attack. The attack that took more Jewish lives in a single day than any time since the Holocaust. Isn't that hard to believe? And because, you know, we're here and we're so free and we never think of it, probably. Maybe you think of it when you see it on the news, but it may or may not be ever really a part of your existence. You don't think about it all the time, and I understand that. I don't either. But every now and then we have the opportunity to say, you know what, I am so blessed. I'm so blessed to live here in America. And God has instructed us to care for and bless Israel, to care for orphans, to care for widows. I told you the story of Ella yesterday. I don't know if you heard that. Maybe you weren't listening this time yesterday. It's an amazing story. Ella is about 73, 74 years old. She wears a necklace, and on her necklace she has 2 photographs. And they're photographs of 2 of her children, the 2 that died on October the 7th, 2023. They were gathered there at her house. It was supposed to be a celebration with Ella and her children. And the code red siren rang out, like we've told you. And at that time, when the code red siren sounds, you have 15 seconds to get somewhere safe. And so they were running to one of these mobile bomb shelters. Ella made it, and 2 of her children did not. They were killed by Hamas on that day. And so she wears this necklace. She has in the necklace the photographs of these 2 children of hers that died. Now, she's 73 or 4 years old. She has needs. If you're that age or your parents are that age, you know that the assistance that family can be to someone at that stage of life, if not also that age of life, is tremendous. And when those people are gone, when they are gone forever, who picks that up? Who will come and wipe the tears? Who will do some of the mundane things, even chores perhaps around, fix a leaky faucet or take care of the elderly? Who will do that? Who will sit and perhaps even just listen to them and let them share the stories of the people that they have lost? The fellowship does that. Is a friend for real, a friend when someone is in need. And it's therefore a friend, obviously, indeed, to people. And you can be a part of that today when you provide. Even a little bit from you makes a world of difference. So when we talk about the opportunity, the chance that you have today to make a difference, you are providing things like emergency food and security needs, even something as simple as flak jackets. Your contribution adds to that effort. Mobile bomb shelters, armored vehicles. We told you the story of Keith Ellison. I beg your pardon, Keith Isaacson. Keith Isaacson is a security official whose life was saved because something told him, and you and I might say that was the Holy Spirit that told him. He was on his way to his post, and he just had a sense that he should stop. He said, something told me to stop and switch vehicles. And he switched into the bulletproof and shrapnel-proof vehicle that the fellowship had given him just a couple of months before. He said that was a miracle. Had he not done that, he would not have been alive. He could not have warned the people in his district. They would not have been prepared for the attacks that came at that time, and they therefore would have died. So his life was saved because somebody like you participated in what we're doing today. And because his life was saved, thousands of others' lives were saved on that day. Imagine the impact you can have, the ripple effect that comes from your little, perhaps little donation. You ever tossed a coin in a fountain or tossed a coin out in the water and you watch the ripple effect of that? It may have been just a little bit, or a small stone, and you throw it in the water, and it ripples out and out and out, and you see even bouncing off the shore at some point, all because of the little bit that we did together. That's what we're talking about today. And you know, I think of the boy with his sack lunch. That's what I call the story. It's the loaves and fishes. The little boy had a sack lunch, And his mama had made it for him. And I picture him having it, carrying it past that group of 5,000 men, so probably 20,000 people that were gathered there. And he's like, what's going on over there? And he has his sack lunch sort of under his left arm. And as he's walking by, it's time for people to eat, and nobody has any food. And this little boy opens up his sack lunch, and here's how I imagine it. I know it's kind of Wilderized. That is my last name. It's kind of Wilderized story. But I think he looks down in his little sack, his little bag, his little burlap bag. And I think he sees what's in it, and I think he thinks two things. This couldn't make a difference. It's so little, and the need is so great. What I have couldn't even make a difference. And the other thing I think he thought was, plus, this is mine. My mom made this for me. This belongs to me. And neither of those things is true. All the things that we have are from the Lord. They're all His. Your breath you're breathing right now. I dare you to hold it for even 30 more seconds. You get a gift of another, and another, and another. That's not from you. That's from the Lord. If that's true of our breaths, it's true of all our stuff too. So it's not ours. The other thing is, it couldn't make a difference. Little is much when it's in the hands of the Lord. And the lesson of that story is, what we offer, He receives. What He receives, He blesses. What He blesses, He uses. And the only thing we're responsible for is the offering. To hold what we have, to hold what He has put in our stead, in our care for a season, to hold that with loose hands, not a closed fist. And to watch what the Lord will do. At the end of that story, I know you remember the feeding, it's called the feeding of the 5,000, but the loaves and fishes, or I call it the sack lunch, the boy with the sack lunch. At the end of that story, you'll recall there were 12 baskets full of leftovers. 12. Does that ring a bell, the number 12? Who do you think was carrying those baskets full of leftovers? What 12 people that were with Jesus do you think were carrying those leftovers? I think it was the disciples. And I think they looked at each other and said, can you believe this? Who would have thought this? How is this possible? I don't think even they understood what had happened or that it was possible. So when you bring your loaves and fishes, when you bring it to Him, watch what He does with it. Just bring it and give it and pray that God would use what little we have for His kingdom, to show love for the people of Israel, to stand with Israel today. To say, I don't care what the world says about these other things. I know it's right to stand with Israel. I stand with Israel today. We stand with Israel today. I'm not going to say that in a loud way. I'm not going to shout it like I'm from a podium somewhere, or if I have a bullhorn. I'm just telling you. Some of the loudest things in the world are the things that are spoken so quietly in your heart. You may not hear from the Lord audibly. It wasn't out loud, but as I've heard many times, it was louder than that. It was louder than out loud that God spoke to us and said, do this. Be a part of this today. So we invite you to do it. We're doing it together today. It's our last day. You say, how can it be the last day? Yesterday was the first day. Well, that's what happens when you do this for 2 days. The first day is the first day, and the second day is the last day. So we don't want you to miss the blessing. We really know that God can do this without us, but we don't want Him to. We don't want to miss the blessing. So we stand by at the phones for you right now at 800-253-8133. 800-253-8133 is the phone number, or you can go online to am630theword.com, am630theword.com. You'll see where to click when you get there. There's a red bar at the top of the page. It's really easy. I like doing stuff online. It's easy. I've gotten used to it now, whether it's groceries and whatnot. I didn't used to do that, a long time ago. I'll say a long time ago before COVID. I didn't do very much of that. Now I'm so used to it. It's so easy. My computer even saves most of that information, not all, but most of the information. I can just say, yeah, add this and do this, and here's the code, and boom, it's done. So protect Israel today. Stand for Israel today. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews have been doing this for more than 40 years, making a difference around the world for Jews, certainly in Israel, in the Holy Land. So as you're hearing about on the radio, your generosity is going to help provide this emergency assistance we've talked about to the Holy Land's most vulnerable. Aren't we commanded? Commanded, not suggested. Aren't we commanded to take care of widows and orphans? That's what we're doing together today with our friends at the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. So would you join us by picking up the phone and say, hey, I'm going to be a part of this. I'm not going to look to the left, not going to look to the right. I'm just going to do what I know is right. So join us today. Call the number 800-253-8133, 800-253-8133, and join those who've already done it today. Today's our last day. Let me tell you briefly about Katrina. Katrina's home is a tiny shack with a bed, a tiny kitchenette, and a lamp. Now, it may sound pejorative, but this is the way many people around the world live. Very different from the way you live and the way I live. Katrina herself is ill. She can't move around on her own. There is no one to help her except a neighbor who comes in to check on her every few days and who can help Katrina with her garden. I have a mother who's 91 years old. So when I hear about stories like Katerina, it rings true to me. I know what that's like. Except for the help that she gets with her garden, she can't do anything on her own. I have no more tears to cry, she says. My life has been such full of sorrow. She has a very difficult situation, as you can imagine. Katerina is full of love, though very grateful for the little things that she still has. Her faith remains strong. She blesses everyone. She would say, from the depth of my heart, she expresses her gratitude for all that the fellowship has done, supporting her, coming to her with a food box, winter blankets to keep her warm, and she's especially grateful that so many people care about her, that she is not forgotten, that she is being prayed for. Would you pray right now, not about what you can do for the Lord, but what the Lord would want to do through you? It's easy to do. Today's our last day. So would you do it? Join us now and call the number. It's 800-253-8133, 800-253-8133, and make a difference. When we come back after a break, I know we have a break in about 3 minutes, so you still have time to get on right now at 800-253-8133 and just say, I'm going to be a part of this today. I'm not going to miss the blessing. So many things, the devil's tricky. I don't know if you noticed or not, but here's the way it works for me. If I have some inclination, let's say I feel led by the Holy Spirit to do something, the devil's not going to say, don't do that. It's a bad idea. It's a terrible idea. Don't do that. The devil's going to say, that's a great idea. Do that. You might even do more, but let's do that a little bit later. You got a lot of stuff going on. Just do it later, because the devil knows that if he can delay me, he can distract me. And if he distracts me, guess what? I miss the blessing, and I miss the opportunity to be a blessing. God has blessed us to be a blessing. We are blessed to bless. It is not solely because he loves us. It is because he trusts us to be him to them today. Would you join us right now? It's so easy to do. Call the number 800-253-8133. 800-253-8133. And join us standing for Israel today. It's our last day together to do this, and we just don't want you to miss out. We want you to be a part of it. So maybe you do something extraordinary. Maybe you, if you don't want to do like a largest gift, maybe you say, I'll just do a monthly gift. Some things I like to just do sort of not so much a thing that I do, but more a part of who I am. Like every single month, I know, I'm standing for Israel again. Just $1 a day. It's the change left in the console in the car after your coffee. Went by this morning, got some coffee, whatever that change is. And the lunchtime change, It's less than $1 a day, and you can stand with Israel and follow the Lord's command to bless Israel. He will bless us as we bless Israel. I know you don't do it to get a blessing, but trust me, it is a blessing to be a blessing. And you have a chance to do that with us today. So we'll take a break. We'll come back in a couple of minutes, but please don't put this off. In the next 2 minutes, let's have 2 or 3 people that will say, I'm in. I'm going to stand for Israel today. I'm holding my hand up now. I'll stand for Israel. 800-253-8133 or go online to am630theword.com. I'm Scott Wilder. More coming up.
The armored vehicle helps me to save the people in my community. That vehicle twice saved my life.
What we know is the old saying that has been true for over 70 years since Israel's establishment. If Israel's enemies would put down their arms, there would be peace. If Israel would put down our arms, there would be no more Israel. Israel wants peace.
Everywhere that we have asked for help, you are there. So thank you very much.
These people are praying for food, and when they get food and a pair of gloves, it's beyond what they could have even possibly dreamed of.
I'm believing that in this most perilous hour, the most difficult since 2014, that whether it's in the streets of Jerusalem or in the skies from Hamas and Gaza, or wherever it might be that the enemies of Israel might seek to inflict and to wound, to maim, I'm believing that God will use this fellowship to alleviate, to heal, to bind up the wounded, to feed, to clothe, to build more bomb shelters. Nobody should have to live like this.
Hi, I'm Scott Wilder. I hope you'll join us right now. It's so easy to do. You just have to pick up the phone and call the number and say, I'm going to stand with Israel today. 800-253-8133. 800-253-8133 or go online to am630theword.com. Stand with Israel today. You'll be glad you did. You know it's the right thing to do, and we invite you to do it with us right now. Again, it's 800-253-8133, 800-253-8133, or online at am630theword.com. Every $45, even $45 makes a world of difference. A monthly gift makes a world of difference. And, of course, the mobile bomb shelters, if you're just joining us, the mobile bomb shelters you heard referenced there, $15,000 can provide a mobile bomb shelter. I was saying earlier today, I'm looking out the window right now, and, of course, rain all around us today. I see people. I see a guy in a flatbed truck. I see people at the intersection. I see people walking toward a patio, people waiting to cross at the stoplight. And I wonder, what would it be like for us if at any moment, within 15 seconds of whatever you're doing right now, if you heard a sound and you knew, you'd been trained to know that you have 15 seconds to find shelter. 15 seconds. From the produce aisle at the grocery store, 15 seconds. From gassing our cars up, 15 seconds. From checking out at a bookstore, 15 seconds is all you have. And then we trained our children and our children's children to be ready. Can you imagine the sort of Damocles hanging over your head every minute of every day? And here we are in our safety. And again, we don't give out of guilt. We give out of gratitude. But here we are in a safe part of the world. Our kids, our grandkids that play on the monkey bars and swing on the swing sets and slide down the slides at the community center and finger paint have never been trained like that. They don't live with that constant fear of knowing that, was that the sound? Okay, it wasn't the sound, but it could be in 5 minutes. It could be now. And I have 15 seconds to find a bomb shelter. When you can provide that bomb shelter, your business can provide that bomb shelter and stand for Israel in such a way as to provide a mobile bomb shelter at a school bus stop. I lived close to my elementary school growing up. I say close, within a mile. So we would always ride our bikes to school, unless it was really terribly raining, probably even worse than today. I wouldn't get a ride to school. We'd walk to school. We'd ride our bikes to school. We'd ride right past Roy Frosch's house. I don't think his parents liked it very much, but Roy Frosch, on the side of the house, they had a great plum tree. We might or might not have snagged a plum on our way to school in the morning and eat it as we're riding our bicycles. I didn't ever do the bus stop, but I know people that did. They took the bus to school. Can you imagine a little 6-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old girl who's standing waiting for the bus and knowing that if that sound goes off, she has to find a shelter? So the fellowship placed 130 of those mobile bomb shelters right beside school bus stops, so that kids getting on or off a bus have a place right there in case they need it. And those bomb shelters have saved hundreds of kids' lives. So maybe you would want to participate in providing a gift to the fellowship today. Something like a $15,000 gift can provide enough to it can give enough to provide one of those mobile bomb shelters. So you've heard about all the opportunities to give us flak jackets, bomb shelters, armored vehicles, amazing opportunities. And the main thing is, I don't think God is concerned with our wallets, but I do think he's desperately concerned with our hearts. That's what I think. If $5 is what you can do $5. Please the Lord with your gift of $5. If you have loaves and fishes, you can't feed 5,000 people. You know what? You can't. I can't. He can. He can. Your gift today, watch what he can do with it. Watch how he blesses what you do, what you give today. It was just months ago when a 12-year-old boy named Alan was enjoying life playing soccer with his friends. He didn't know that he was moments away from surviving one of the deadliest Hamas-Hezbollah rocket attacks, of last summer. At a local field playing soccer in Israel. The attack killed 12 innocent kids, injured many more like Alan. I was near the soccer field when I heard the rocket explosion. It remembers Alan's dad. I ran to the field. Think about that for a second. The dad hears the explosion, knows his son is at the soccer field, and runs. What he saw next was really any parent's nightmare. I saw Alan, this is the dad talking again. I saw Alan lying and bleeding on the field. Alan was evacuated by helicopter, went straight to surgery. The surgeon told his parents to be prepared for the worst, but after a long surgery and many, many hours waiting, Alan's parents finally had some hope. Their son was in stable condition. Now, fellowship caught up with Alan, whose parents explained that he's bravely faced months of rehabilitation, still needs a couple more surgeries, pardon me, after suffering damage to his pelvis, to his spine, and his eye. But thanks to you and those who partner with the fellowship has been by Alan's side the entire time. The fellowship donated the ambulance that was the first to arrive with paramedics to treat the injured like Alan. And we continue to provide support to Alan's family as they face a long, long road of recovery. Isn't it amazing the different thing? I could tell you hundreds of stories of needs and how the needs are met because of the generosity of people like you. It's great work the fellowship does. There's no question about that. It's the grace of God that makes it possible. But it's also the generosity of people like you that make what the fellowship has done for more than 40 years on the ground in the Holy Land, partnering with people like you who embrace the Bible's mandate to stand with Israel, to bless Israel and the Jewish people. So You can show Christ's love today, right now, by standing with Israel. The war that has come, war leads to poverty, and poverty impacts, we've said many times, poverty impacts the elderly and children first and the worst. They're the ones that are impacted the worst. Hundreds of thousands of children and families live in poverty. Part of that is because Israel spends an awful lot of its money trying to protect the same children and families from terrorism and war. So that leaves it to the rest of us. And we're called through Scripture. Isaiah 58:7 says, share your food with the hungry. Provide the poor wanderer with shelter. When you see the naked, clothe them. It's only because of the generosity of people like you that the fellowship is able to address the needs of children and families, the elderly, some of whom are Holocaust survivors. So we have just a few minutes left. We hope we've been able to. We hope we can take you to another part of the world. It's a place where missiles rain down, the sounds of emergency warning sirens that we told you about, the code red alert can be heard any time of the day or night, anytime. And there in the middle of all that goes on, the fellowship's mission is more critical than ever, bringing hope, bringing help, bringing relief to those who are caught in the crossfire. Let me give you the phone number again. We really don't want you to miss the chance to be a part of it. 800-253-8133. 800-253-8133. $800 can make a huge difference. $100 can make a huge difference. $25 a month can make a huge difference. It really is. There's no right number. The only wrong number, I think, is zero. Just ask the Lord what he wants to do through you. We are blessed to be blessings. That's why we've been blessed. And we're so thrilled to be able to stand for Israel and stand with Israel, with our friends at the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. And call the number now at 800-253-8133. 800-253-8133. Yael Eckstein is the president and CEO of the fellowship, and she had a comment or two about prayer.
How can this ever turn around? We know that it's through our prayers that God can turn anything around. I believe prayer is the greatest both healing power and weapon against our enemies, because God is in charge. And as we know, God can perform miracles when we call out to him, especially from the lowest place.
Join me in praying for peace, and I know that God will open your heart to lay on you exactly where your place is in this. Is it to pray? Is it to act? Is it to donate in order to help all of these efforts? We're living in historic time, my friends, and how blessed we are to be in a position to pray and to help.
Yael Eckstein is the president and CEO of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. You know, when we compare it to 9/11, that is a little bit misleading, I think. I mean, 9/11, it's true that we lost, I think, but almost 3,000 people on 9/11. But 3,000 people, based on our population, we're a very big country. And we're big in terms of numbers. We're also big in terms of land mass. Imagine being a country the size of the state of New Jersey. And when you lose as many people as were lost on that day out of a population of 9.75 million. 9.75 million, we have more than twice that many people in the state of Texas. So if you lost, 2,000 people in a day, if the attacks had rained down on a portion of land that was whatever number of acres or miles that it was, it's from a size like the state of New Jersey. So in terms of the impact, there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. Who is safe? No one. No one is safe. Children are not safe. Old people are not safe. The elderly, Holocaust survivors are not safe. These are people who are being targeted solely because of who they are, because they are Jewish. There's a war to wipe Israel off the map. That is not God's plan, and that's not a plan I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of the plan that stands with Israel today. And you don't have to start an argument with anybody you live with, anybody you care about, anybody you work with. Just pick up the phone and say, I'm going to stand with Israel today. I may not change my Facebook profile. I may not do something public like that, but I'm going to stand with Israel. And again, I want to acknowledge we started our time together. I know it's complicated. I get that. I totally get that. I know it is tough. And there are people, thousands of people that have died on both sides. But what you heard from Yael Eckstein earlier today, when will the war end? You hear people say, free Palestine, meaning free the people of Palestine. Who are the people that are keeping them down, holding them back? It's not Israel. It's Hamas. So, yeah, there's not a problem with the Palestinian people per se. There's a problem with Hamas being the leadership of Palestine. So I don't get political about it. It's not a political issue. It's a hard issue. God has told us to stand with Israel, to bless Israel, and that's what I'm going to do today. That's what I invite you to do with us today. Just stand with Israel. Pray, absolutely. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. As I have done my whole life, we pray for that peace. We also work for that peace. And until that peace comes, there are people impacted. They're caught in the crossfire. And now what do? We stand with them. And one of the great things about when you partner with a great ministry like the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, when you do that, believe me, you don't have to do the heavy lifting. Nobody is asking you or me to go anywhere. You don't have to go to a dangerous place. You don't have to do any of that. You just say, you know what? I'm going to contribute. And again, I don't know why I don't say led. I don't put too much of a spiritual emphasis on it. But I just want to be clear that you have a chance today, if you're a business and you would like to be a part of what is going on and have your business stand for Israel. And maybe you'll never get any public acknowledgement, and that's okay with you. You've just been blessed by God. The boy with the sack lunch, whatever was in that little burlap bag, God provided. Whatever is in your burlap bag, God provided. I'm not discounting your hard work. I know it's hard to put it together. And I know that, if you and I just sit on a porch and pray but never work in the field, it's really tough for God to allow the harvest to take place. So it doesn't come without your hard work. But who gave you the energy for that hard work? Who gave you the opportunity for that hard work? Who gave you that spouse who does the heavy lifting at home so you can do what you do? That if they weren't there, if she weren't there, you couldn't do what you do. Those are all gifts from God. That's not from you. That's not from me. Who gave you those kids and those grandkids who look up to you and who don't know? They don't know what's right. They don't know what's true. They get that from you. Not just what they are taught, but what you have allowed them to be around so that it's caught. It's not just what's taught, it's what's caught. And they see what we do. They see what's important to us. So, I've worked my whole life, probably 13, 14 years old, did the first thing that many of the boys, at least that I knew, did. We mowed yards. We worked hard. We didn't charge very much. We probably spent more money on gas and whatnot to run the machines than we made from it. We worked hard. But every single thing we did, everything I've done since then in the 60 or the 58 years since then, that has all happened because God has given me the strength to do it, given you the strength to do it. Anytime I've traveled overseas, it's because God gave me the opportunity to do it. So there's nothing that we have that is from ourselves. There's nothing that we own that we deserve. We are but stewards. If we are stewards of the breath, we're stewards of all the stuff too. It's all from the Lord. So today you can say, hey, I'm going to be a part of this. That's all true. God has blessed my business. God's blessed me with the energy to do the things that I do. God has blessed me with the intelligence to do the things that I do. God has blessed me with the opportunity educationally to do the things that I do. God has blessed me with the chance encounters, that's in air quotes, that I did not expect. Then great things came from that, for my family, for my business. That all came from God. That wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't coincidental. It was providential. As it is providential that you're listening right now. That is God. That's not me. It's not an interesting thing on the radio. It's not you. It's a divine appointment to do a wonderful thing together and stand for Israel. We're counting on you. This is our last day together, and we don't want you to miss the opportunity to do such a wonderful thing, especially in such a hostile world. Would you join us right now? Call the number 800-253-8133, 800-253-8133. You can also go online to am630theword.com, am630theword.com, and make a difference there. Monthly gift, one-time gift. And again, that bomb shelter, I there's no way I could do a $15,000 bomb shelter, obviously. But, I might do something. Or maybe your business, you want that to be part of your business legacy, to know that you stood by Israel at the most important time in the nation of Israel since the Holocaust. That's true. Call the number now, 800-253-8133, or online at am630theword.com. The war in Israel has taken a hard toll on a man named Dai's emotional well-being. It's actually a woman. Although she didn't suffer physically, the memories of the war in Iran came back to her as she was hearing the sirens and the sounds of military jets over her head. She said, frankly, I cannot and do not want to do anything when the sirens go off. It's too hard for me. She lives in Jerusalem in a block of apartments near the town's edge up on a hill. Winters are harsh. Central heating doesn't work. She tries to heat the room using a small electric heater, but still she can't get warm. She sleeps with 2 winter hats on her head. Have you ever done that? Has it ever been so cold you wore a hat to bed? I have. I really have. I know that is not fun. During the day, she often puts on an outdoor jacket. Let me say something. My dad used to get chilled sometimes. He died 32 years ago, a couple of weeks ago, I think. And I remember my dad would put on a jacket indoors. Everybody else would be fine, and he would just wear a jacket indoors. And she did the same thing, does the same thing, died as the same thing. When she realized the fellowship volunteers had brought her a warm blanket for winter relief aid. You should have seen her face. She was so happy. She started to cry. Not only did she feel warm, but she also felt the very fact that someone had brought her something as a gift. She says it still surprises her. This door, she points at the entrance of her little apartment, usually doesn't hear anyone knocking on it. I'm so happy you came to visit me. I don't know why I'm thinking about my dad so much. My dad used to use a phrase, "You made my day." That made my day. She's saying, "You made my day." When I've traveled overseas, I remember meeting a man, and he said, "It's good to know that someone somewhere is thinking of us." It's so easy to just think of ourselves, isn't it? I mean, I got plenty of stuff going on. I got kids, got a brand new grandson, never been a granddad before. I have no idea what to do to be a granddad. But, I want that little boy, if Lord allows me to be around for his cognizant life. He's just 52 days old. I'd love for him to be able to look at me and go, yeah, I want to be like that guy. I want to care about the things he cares about. I want to do the things he does. Today, you can make a huge difference. by standing with Israel. It's so easy to do. And we unapologetically stand for and stand with Israel. Don't just bathe in the news, all the things going on and all this and all this. Listen, you have a chance today. You've been blessed. A man fell to robbers along the road. Will we stand by? Will we walk by? Or will we run over and say, you know, God's blessed me. I can help you. I'm not going to ask how you voted. I'm not going to care what your stance is on this or that. God has blessed me, and I'm going to bless you, brother. That's what we're doing together today. Call right now, 800-253-8133, 800-253-8133. $45 is sort of a suggested amount, but you can't do that. Do 45, do 42, do 40, do less, do more. It doesn't matter. We are looking for a bomb shelter, though, to be placed by someone listening right now. Or maybe 2 or 3 people would say, I can do some of that. I'll do $5,000 of that bomb shelter. Maybe somebody else will do the other 5. Somebody else will do the other 5. Stand with Israel today. Phone number one more time and slowly. It's 800-253-8133. Or handle it all safe and secure online at am630theword.com. To spend the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a little brief time with you right here on AM 630 The Word. I'm Scott Wilder.